look back in your life. People forget the evidence they have often of the things they've experienced. Something new happens in our life that's either difficult or even can be exciting, but we latch onto it as if we never had any experiences before. We forget the things we already did and went through. Maybe this one's a little more difficult, but when we remember the evidence that we were able to get through it, it certainly makes it a little easier to face it because we know we've done it before.
The right conversation can change everything. This is Mirror Talk, Soulful Conversations.
Welcome to Mirror Talk Soulful Conversations. This is a space where we explore the moments that shape us, the storms that refine us, and the deeper truths that help us live with courage and clarity. Sometimes life forces us to ask questions we never planned to ask. Questions about meaning, resilience, identity, and what truly matters when everything we thought was stable begins to shift. Today's conversation is about what it means to keep showing up when life tells you it might be over. Our guest today is an author, leadership coach, and the CEO of the Academy of Coaching Excellence, who has spent decades working with leaders and innovators, including early roles at Facebook, Walmart, and Palm. Beyond the titles and accomplishments, his story is one of profound resilience. After being told 3 different times that he had only 6 months to live, he now lives by a powerful phrase: I'm still here. Tom, welcome to Mirror Talk. How are you doing?
Thank you, Toby. I'm doing great. I've been looking forward to this. It's a delight to be with you and your viewers.
Thank you so much for joining me today for a soulful conversation. I've been looking so much forward to this too, because I'm looking so much forward to learning about your story and, the phrase, I'm still here. I would really love us to dive deep into that. But before we do all of that, I would like us to play a game of wild cards just to get to know you. And for the listeners also to know you in a fun way by asking you 3 random questions. I'm shuffling the first stack of cards right now, which is our icebreakers level. And I'm picking a card randomly. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's get wild.
Let's get wild. Yes. So the first question is, what is your favorite trait about yourself? What is your favorite trait about yourself?
My favorite trait about myself is that I love to listen, but I love to listen for what's being said. So many of us listen and we're playing in our head how we might respond and planning it and instead of staying present with the person speaking and trusting that what we say will be just fine. The thing about this is when we're not listening and we're playing tapes in our head, is the person speaking to us knows it. So I love being an authentic listener.
How do you do that? How do you listen authentically? How do you practice active listening?
I think it's really important that we realize that we know who we are. We've been through a lot of many things. And when we're talking to someone new, we sometimes act as if it's the first time we've ever been there versus the evidence of everything we've had in the past and trusting that we'll be able to respond. So active listening, again, is not playing in your head how you're going to respond, but staying present, because when we don't, we might miss one of the most important words of what somebody's trying to tell us. The other thing, if you're a good listener, is you don't parrot back. You don't say exactly back to someone what they said, but you give them enough to know that you heard.
I like that. It's something I'm also working on, to be an active listener. And in the journey of this podcast, I think I'm working on that and learning more and more. That's why I asked so that you could maybe go a bit deeper,
Yeah.
so I can learn that. So thank you so much for that answer. Like it. Are you ready for the next card? I pulled one already. So this is the confessions level. And the question that I picked up is, what is a memory you never want to let go of?
I have to say it's a collection of memories that if you read my book, which hope we'll talk about in the book, I recount three experiences I had. I was present for my brother, my mother, and my father's death. I was with them, literally all three of them, laying next to them in the bed. I was somewhat of, before we even used the word so casually, a bit of a death doula with them.
Hmm.
And I spent time with them, and all three of those experiences, which were very, very sad, were also extraordinarily beautiful, each one of them in their individual way. And I never want to forget that, because life is precious, and we sometimes forget that when we're born, we're going to die. Some of us
Sure.
get longer, some of us get shorter. We really don't know what happens. We have a lot of faith and belief in what happens, but it's still the great mystery until it happens to you. But what I do know is this wonderful life we've been given and how important it is. Experiencing that with three people that were dear to me and my family helped me understand how precious and important living each day is.
Yeah. Life is short but very precious also. Wow, that's very deep. I mean, you experiencing the loss of dear ones, very close ones. Seeing the bright side of it is very you're a very strong person. I mean, a lot of people would experience that and give up on life and only see life from the negative parts on negative side. Yeah.
I think, it's maybe a little different than not seeing the negative and only seeing the positive, as being grateful for all of it. For you see, that's the abundance of life. If we didn't know light, we wouldn't know dark. If we didn't know blue, we wouldn't know green. If we didn't know sad, we wouldn't know happy. So in experiencing things that feel sad, I get to know happy better.
And appreciate it even more. Wow. That's a brilliant answer. Are you ready for the last one?
I am.
So this is getting deep, level 3, and the question is, who is a stranger you will always remember?
What a good question, Toby. Who is a stranger I will always remember? I met someone one time that I don't know who they are. I'll never see them again. And I have something I talk about in my life I have a keynote that I do called the philanthropic mindset. And many people that philanthropy is about writing a check or going to a gala or having your name on a building.
Hmm.
And I love to shift people's thinking to think about philanthropy and a philanthropic gesture as being something as simple as your hello or a smile or that you sit with someone. And I had this encounter once. I was visiting someone in a facility where a lot of elderly people and sick people go to make their transition. And I ended up talking with someone who I'll never know, I'll never see again. But I know in my heart, and being there present with them, I gave them a gift. And in giving them that gift of my time and my presence and my ear, I in turn got a gift. So those kinds of things, that was one example that are very meaningful to me in my life, where we give to others. The difference of philanthropy and not is when we have expectations. If I'm offering you my smile or hello, expecting something in return, that's not a philanthropic gesture. It's really about being present to offering that to someone without expecting anything in return.
Offering not necessarily money without expecting something in return. It could be your time. It could be any other thing.
Or a talent you have. Your talent may be to make the best fried rice in the world, or
Yeah.
it may be that your talent is to knit something and someone needs a little blanket or a baby needs a little beanie or whatever it might be.
Mhm.
That we all express, whether it's our time, our talent, or our treasure. We have ways that we can share with others.
Yes. Wow, Tom, I really appreciate all the answers that you shared. Through the wildcard questions, I've learned so much from you already, and we've never started the conversation yet. One of the reasons why I really wanted to speak with you on this podcast was because of what you experienced. I'm moved by stories. I learn a lot from people's stories and journeys in life. And when I got to learn that you were told 3 different times that you only have 6 months to live, I mean, I would just like to know, like, when someone stands that close to the edge of life, something inside changes, I believe. I mean,
Yes.
I've not experienced that before. So I would like you, to shine some light on that. Like, what shifted inside you during those moments that no career success or leadership role could ever teach?
Yes. Well, I've had two life threatening illnesses. The first one I was told was terminal, and I've had metastatic cancer now for 14 years. And as you can see, I'm still here.
Yes.
And during that process, yes, I've been given 6 months to live 3 times. In fact, you shared my corporate career. For most of that, I was sick and no one knew. I think that the first illness that I had was I did some anonymous testing and it turned out that I was very, very sick and had a virus that wanted to kill me. And I remember leaving this clinic of getting the result and walking to my car. And I sat in the car and I looked in the rearview mirror and I spoke to that virus. And I said this, if you want to come to my party, welcome. If you think you're going to take me out, you're in for the fight of your life.
That's
So I think what happens when we're challenged with these things in life, we have ways that we can respond to it. Now, I don't want to take away the human aspect of where we go in the process of getting there, because there is a merit in going to a place where we need to scream, yell at God, stomp our feet, shed tears. But the reality is the situation is real. It's not going away. The sooner we can get present with it, the sooner we have an opportunity to either use it, deal with it, but to continue to be in the present and move forward.
yeah.
So I work with a lot of clients and I find out so many people live in the past of what happened to them. It's as if they think there's a do-over in life, or like on our phones when we watch a video now and there's a little button, go back 10 seconds. Life doesn't work that way. And while it may teach us something from the past, to hang out there doesn't move us forward. I have this thing that I call terrible gifts. What is a terrible gift? We all have things happen in our life. We lose someone we love. A relationship ends. Our pet dies. We get sick. A disaster comes and, God forbid, takes away our house or someone we love. These are terrible things that we wouldn't wish on anybody, but they are part of life. What I have found, if we're open to it, is whether it's a month, a year, or 5 years, a gift comes from it. Some way that we shift or change, or we learn something about ourselves that we didn't know we were capable of. My best story of this is a woman I know who was a sports person, like Olympiad level. She went into the hospital for a very minor operation and got MRSA. Horrible thing to get. They had to cut her leg off. She sat in the wheelchair with a walking stick and cane. She went to that spot, but she didn't like the walking cane or the stick because of how people perceived her when they saw it. So in her own oven, she created an acrylic cane. She made the handle by wrapping it around a wine bottle. Today, that woman owns a global business making the most beautiful canes and walking sticks for people who need them. So when you encounter them, you encounter that gorgeous walking stick or cane versus looking at the person as having a disability or a handicap. She got a terrible gift.
It means no matter what we experience in life, negative things or good things, there's always a gift, a lesson from it, something that it's an opportunity that it presents to us also.
If we choose to allow it to be. Life's going to be life. Life to me, when I hear somebody say, my life is just great, it's just perfect, that just sounds like one of those shows we watch on TV where somebody's in the hospital with a flatline monitor. I think life is a series. To me, this is where we have an opportunity to learn and grow. Here's where we get to express it and share it, knowing that life's going to be life and give us another opportunity to learn and grow.
It will always be life. Sometimes we experience the lows, and in the lows we learn, in the highs we get to grow.
Yeah. And I like the idea to reclassify the low as an opportunity that I get to learn and grow from. Nothing else, it sounds better.
Yeah. This is already, showing me or teaching me about resilience, more about resilience, because once I get to see life this way, I become resilient, right? I become,
Yes.
yeah.
Let me define resilience for you from my perspective.
Yes,
Many
please.
people think resilience is that you just get back up. To me, resilience is not only getting back up, it's how did I grow from it, which often requires risk, resilience, and reinvention. I see resilience as a muscle, just like we exercise our bicep or our tricep to have nice guns in our clothes. We exercise the muscle of resilience. It's more available to us. It's stronger. In fact, I think resilience is your greatest currency because you see the stock market can crash. You can lose your title, your job. You can, so many things in life can shift. But when you build resilience, no one can take it away from
When you build resilience, no one can take it away from you. And whenever life is life, you get to, come back up again and grow from whatever life throws at you.
you. Yes. Yes.
This is making me, remember or think about your book and its title, My Life in Business Suits, Hospital Gowns, and High Heels. And when earlier when you talked about, going downhill and going uphill, that was what came to my mind basically, like, business suits has been, at the top, then going downhill, going to the hospital and being diagnosed with different things and being told you live for, X amount of months. So can you tell us about this book and
Yeah.
how which could teach us about resilience and risk?
Yes, thank you so much. This book, My Life in Business Suits, Hospital Gowns, and High Heels, is a memoir of my life up to about 15 years ago. And it is also crosses over into a bit of self-help. And for the reader, what I'm hoping to share with them is that who we are today is the sum of all who we've been in our life. And some of those parts of our life we may want to keep private. We may think they're outrageous. We might even feel shame for them, or we might even think people just wouldn't understand. But indeed, you would not be who you are today without all those parts. And as a result, own them, celebrate them, because they created experiences that brought you to who you are today, just like the ones that will continue into the future. So that's what the book is about. I love this book and what I hear from people. I've won a few awards, which is exciting about it. But people call me and they say, I can't put this book down, or I laughed, I cried, I did both at once.
Mm.
And it's a wonderful journey that takes you on to not only see the possibilities that happen out of the terrible gifts of life, but also how you can use resilience, maybe take a few risks and reinvent yourself as you move through life to be inspired to keep on going and know there's always more.
Life will be life. There's always more. Once if you get down, yourself back up and grow from it. And that growing from it, my understanding right now is the reinventing that we do. Like we learn from whatever life throws at us. We use it as an opportunity, see it as a gift, and
Yes,
as a
yes.
gift of reinvention, as a gift of, innovating something new, like doing something great with our
Yeah.
lives.
Yeah. We don't think about the fact that when we're born, we start aging. What we think about as we get older is that proverbial light that's coming gets a little brighter the older you get, but it was coming all along. So we have this one that we know about anyway, this one wonderful life in this body. What are you going to do with it? How are you going to live it? In the beginning of my book, there's a quote by Maya Angelou that says, "Every storm runs out of rain." Because you see, we have these storms in our lives, just like storms in the weather. Behind those storms outside, the hail can be coming, whatever it might be, but the sun is shining on the other side. We
Yes.
have storms in life that pass through. The sun can be shining on the other side. We may be challenged that it doesn't look like we thought it would look, but that's just life being life. What's true about that storm outside that leaves the ground wet and fertile, ready for planting, so do the storms in our lives. My question for people is, what are you going to plant?
What are you going to plant? You just made me remember a conversation I was having on this podcast with someone, and the guest told me that, yeah, he told me that the sun is always shining. And I was like, really? I mean, sometimes, when we feel like we're facing the storm of life, everywhere is cloudy, maybe we're experiencing burnout, losses, identity shift, broken relationships, name it, we feel like everything's clouded. And like you said, so we are facing a storm in our lives. And then you are saying the sun is shining at the other side. Like, where is the sun? How do I hold on? How do I, hold on to hope and believe and survive and pull through with the mindset that is, I will see the sun again, at the
Yes,
other
I
side.
think it's a shift we have the opportunity to do. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's a shift in those cloudy times that life offers us. We can experience them.
Yeah.
They can also maybe teach us something. We can learn from them. But there's always the hope when you know the fact that the sun is still shining. The cloud, just like in the storm that's passing by your house, the cloud will move on by. Look back in your life. People forget the evidence they have often of the things they've experienced. Something new happens in our life that's either difficult or even can be exciting, but we latch onto it as if we never had any experiences before. We forget the things we already did and went through. Maybe this one's a little more difficult, but when we remember the evidence that we were able to get through it, it certainly makes it a little easier to face it because we know we've done it before.
Sometimes you do not need another podcast episode. You need the right reflection for where you are in this moment. Introducing Ask Mirror Talk, a new space where you can ask what is on your heart and receive thoughtful reflections drawn from real conversations from the Mirror Talk Soulful Conversations podcast. Whether you are navigating growth, searching for clarity, feeling stuck, or simply reflecting on life, Ask Mirror Talk connects your question to meaningful podcast moments that may speak directly to you. No generic advice, no data collected, completely anonymous. Just honest questions and real conversations that help you see more clearly. Ask what is on your heart. Try it now. mirrortalkpodcast.com/ask-mirror-talk.
Yes. I'm just remembering things right now. It just makes me remember the importance of journaling sometimes. Like I learned this, that it's very important to note things down, what we've passed through in life. So once we're experiencing something, we could just go through our journals and say, oh yeah, I actually experienced this, because sometimes we tend to forget things that we've gone through in life. I think this new situation is new in quotes, and
Yeah.
how will I pull through? This is strange. Why is it happening to me? Without knowing that we've gone through something maybe even worse in the past.
Yes. You can go traveling and go to a new country you've never been before and want to explore and find new things and eat new food and meet new people. Or you can go and stay in your hotel or your Airbnb and out of fear never go out the front door. these things that we happen in life aren't so different. On the surface, they may appear that way, but if you look back or you're willing to be open to it, as you step out into what seems unknown and maybe even a little scary or risky, you may just find something that is really, really important, like a new favorite dish or a person you'll never forget, or something you viewed in nature that will stick with you forever. It's the same thing, just a different way of finding.
That's awesome. I would like us to talk about back in the days when you worked with Facebook in the past. I would like to learn a little bit about success from you and how we see it, today. You spent time at Facebook when it was still very young, in a period of rapid innovation and pressure. From your perspective, I'd just like to learn, like, what does the modern world right now get wrong about success and leadership?
Yeah, well, that's a really good question. I was sitting at my desk at Palm and I had this job where I was traveling all over the world, and I happened to be in town and the phone rang and I picked it up, and it was a recruiter from this little unknown company called Facebook that was still in colleges. I didn't even know what Facebook was. I thanked them and hung up the phone. And somebody I had worked with before, who was now a venture capitalist, called me and said, "I referred you to Facebook and you didn't talk to them." And I said, "Well, what's Facebook?" And a long story, and it's a good story in the book. I interviewed with Mark Zuckerberg when he was 19, and I went to Facebook. I was in the first 75 employees and set up all their customer operations and some other things there. And I think that, we look at that tremendous growth and what happened with that, and we look at where we are today. And sometimes what we do is we get so into what's happening. And right now, there's a lot going on in the world to get us shaken up. And what I like to do is try and envision what that might mean on a broader level. So I like to kind of back up and look at it maybe as if I was a bird flying in the sky and looking at wide spaces that I don't get to see very often, of what might this period of time mean on a larger continuum? What's happening now that we might learn from or might shift things?
Mhm.
So what I love about your question is I find it also in the generations where we had, the boomers and Gen X and the millennials, Gen Y, and now Gen Z. And what happens is often as those new generations come about, we label them with things like lazy. And like the millennials were all labeled, you're lazy, you don't wear good shoes, you have like tattoos, all these things, or that
Yeah.
we have wild ideas. It's been going on for generations forever. The Zoomers are getting it now, and soon Gen Alpha. What I believe is what people are talking about at that age are the societal shifts that are going to happen later. It's the beginning of something, and we like to tell them from our wisdom what they should do and what they should know, instead of holding the space to maybe be a mentor to it, or to listen, or maybe learn something. A perfect example with Gen Z is they're demanding we look at mental health. We've
Mhm.
talked about this for years. They're going to demand it, and they will be the workforce soon. You'll have no choice.
Yeah.
Things like taking time off to recharge, talked about it forever. They're living it and experiencing it. Each generation has had those things they brought to the table that's shifted society. So something like the Facebook experience just creates in today's world the possibility of these events that don't come along very often that shift culture. So if you think of what social media did, look at what's with us now. AI.
Yes.
Well, there are people that are all one extreme from looking at all the opportunities and what it can bring to us. And there's the other end of the spectrum that it's either going to take my job or I'm not playing. I'm not going to do it because it feels risky. It's not going to stop it.
No, it's not.
It's some new thing that we're happening. I'm old enough to remember that. I can remember when people used to have paper on their desk, no computers, and we gave them a computer. Everybody thought they were going to lose their jobs because they wouldn't be able to do it. Second nature now. Email came along. Everybody thought we're going to lose our jobs. Email will take it away. Now we just like to get rid of email. Then the internet came and everybody was, oh my God, it's going to destroy us. It's going to take us away. It's going to harm us. And look at what the internet brings to us today. So I just see AI as on that continuum of something that is the period now we're in, and who knows where it's going to end up. Likely, I don't know, my prediction is just like other things, there'll be a lot of it, and then it'll either some of it will fall by the wayside, some of it will get cannibalized by bigger companies, and there'll be some big things that turn out to be what happens. But
Yeah.
in the middle of all that, look at all the exciting growth that's happening. And does it require us to look at new ways of doing things or who we'll be? Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. But by not playing and not engaging at some level, we're guaranteed to be left behind with our head in the sand. Find out what it means to you, how you can shift, what you can learn, how you can use it, because many of these things I just spoke of create so much information being available that we humans then get to be creative with. We get to find ways to use it, find ways to lead through it. That's going to happen again. What are those opportunities? Not discounting that there's going to be some shifts and changes, but how do we find a way to use them to our advantage? And how do we get part of the game and get into it? And sometimes that's just helping others see that there is hope on the other side.
Yes. I think it also touches the point about taking risks also. Like we talked about earlier, just being a leader and seeing all these changes are coming. It's like, don't run away from it. Take the risk of embracing it and seeing where it goes. There's hope on the other side.
Yes,
You can
yes.
learn from it.
As a baby, if we didn't risk crawling, we would have never stood up.
Mm, that's
If we had
true.
never had the training wheels or however we learned to ride a bike, we'd never have that experience. There's so many things in life that they're new to us, they're challenges, but look at what it brings to us.
Yes.
So I like to say, I'm not saying it's easy all the time, but I like to say, maybe find a way to embrace these things by remembering I had to crawl to walk.
As simple as that. Yes, but very deep. I had to crawl to walk. That means I have to take the risk, to be able to grow in this situation. But Tom, you speak about something called radical presence. And in a world right now, I mean, I'm also a victim of this. That is, we're constantly distracted, constantly rushing, constantly trying to move to the next big thing, the next big thing. And, we don't even sometimes take the time to celebrate our little milestones. We want to move to the next big milestone. What does radical presence actually look like in someone's everyday life? Like in our
Well,
everyday life?
I love this question because I spoke a little bit about how many people I work with that are living in the past. Well,
Mm,
if you're living in the past, you're not here in the present. And then other people, especially about what's going on in the world today, that we could say, oh my God, what's going to happen to us? We get way out in the future. Now, we have to do some things in the future because, we have to have food. We have to keep the lights on. If we got kids, they have to be fed, has to
mm.
be gas in the car, or it has to be charged, whatever we do. But when we get too far out in the future, especially when we're worried about what's happening, we're missing what's here today. We tend to forget that we got up this morning. Some people didn't. And by being here in the presence, I think this is where this radical presence come in, is where the magic of life is. Because if I'm too far in the past or I'm too far in the future, I love to say this, I might miss that beautiful butterfly that just flew by in front of me. Use that butterfly for a metaphor of anything that might happen in your life that you might miss while you're spending time wringing your hands about the past or wringing your hands about what threat might come in the future. Be here, do what you can. Remember, we create our own experience. We can either create it and be in fear and angst, or we can create it to make sure we do things that take care of ourselves and, most importantly, be of service to others.
be of service to others, and being the present moment. You said, I mean, we create what we want to experience in life, like we're in charge. I believe we are like co-pilots of our ship, and we determine we're headed towards. God is the main captain, and we co-pilots with him. We are the co-author of our life book also.
We are. It's, at the end of the day, we come in alone. There may be somebody at the bedside, but you're still going out alone.
Yeah.
You're what you've got to believe in. You're what you've got to stand with. You're what's going to get you through each day. And often we try and find things outside of ourselves, whether it's people, substances, food. We could go down a list forever of all those things when it's right within us. It's said often, but it's so true. You are who you're looking for.
You are who you're looking for. I mean, the first time I heard that, I was like, what does that mean? What do you mean I am the one I'm looking for? But I think I'm gradually getting to understand that, like, I get to determine what life will look like for me. I mean, to a large extent, life will be life. Life would happen. There's some things that are out of my control, but that's percentage of things that are within my control. I'm in charge of making it be what it is.
We know people all the time that we see that they're going through a challenge in life. And as an outsider, we look at it and we see the obvious of the solution. And we often ask ourselves, why can't they see it? They can't. They're too involved in it. And we expect them to be able to see something we see. That's where we come in being of service to others. How do we hold the space to listen or to maybe offer ideas? I have this thing in my practice I call the haystack method. And I'm
What's
sure
that?
you've heard the saying, it's like finding a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
Well, I think everybody has their own answers, the needle. What happens is we get so much hay, we can't find the needle. My job when I work with clients is to hold the space so they can move the hay out of the way to see their answer. Me telling them the answer is more of the same. We know we have our own answers. We just have to have sometimes some support to be able to see that we know.
Yes. Sometimes we need someone to just point us in the right direction. So when you were talking right now, what was going to my mind, like visual in terms of visualization, was sometimes our head is stuck in the mud, and we don't know that our head is actually stuck in the mud. And we're asking, our being worried, why is everywhere dark? Why is everywhere muddy or smelly? And we just need someone to tell us, hey, just remove that mud off your face, and then you'll be able to see again. I'm like, oh, I did not know that I had mud on my face, and that's why the
Yeah.
whole world is dark. I'm seeing dark.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's what you do as a coach, right? Like as a resilience coach, helping people to build that
Yeah, I
resilience to
do a
grow.
lot of working with people. It's fun because sometimes they hear about my business experience. And so they bring business issues, and I'm happy to help them with those and talk through them. But often what I perceive is what's going on with them that is either in the way or a barrier or something they're not realizing where they have a role to play in it themselves, because I believe they have their own answer. We either get scared or anxious, or we're afraid someone's going to judge us or something. And sometimes we just need somebody to hold a space to help us to see with our own eyes what was always there.
Sometimes we need someone to hold space for us. Talking about holding spaces and seeing again, a lot of listeners also, experience moments where their identity collapse based on, due to different things.
Moments of
Experiencing
what?
experiencing as in identity crisis or identity collapse. Yeah, there. Maybe because maybe because of some job issues or relationship issues, or the role that they thought defined them as a person, or assets or acquisitions that they believed was the definition of their being, basically. So how do we rebuild like a sense of self when the version of ourself we once relied on is no longer in existence?
Yeah. I think one of the most important thing for people to remember. This is life being life. These things are going to happen. They're going to happen to us. And sometimes we're able to work through them ourselves. Sometimes we need help. I call it the energy of support. So whether it's from a
Support.
coach or maybe you need somebody like a therapist or a psychologist, whatever it is, you may need a doctor, but whatever it is, there's many times when we try and we think we should figure it out on our own
Yeah.
when we could really use the support of others. And some of us can use a lot of support. We get a lot of support from others, sometimes even excess. We can figure it out. Others of us are like, I need to do this on my own, when it's a perfect opportunity to have someone guide us, help us, just listen to us. So that's what I want to answer that with, is don't forget the energy of support, about knowing that these times happen. They're going to come. There's going to be crises. Things are going to fall apart. It's what resilience is all about. But use the energy of support when you need to either find the expert, the coach, the counselor, the doctor, whatever it is that helps us then inform ourselves so we can make some of the decisions that we find difficult because we just got more information.
Yes. Yeah, and we cannot do life on our own. I mean, we can't do it with our own knowledge. We have to seek for help from people, have a community, get the information that we need to come out of whatever situation we're going through. Yeah, I think it applies to, identity crisis, and also when we no longer feel aligned with ourselves or who we are, we need
Yes.
to seek for help.
And let's face it, life can throw us some curveballs. Just everything we've just talked about, people react to it differently. Some people just ignore it all like it's not there, and then it sneaks up them. Something was going to sneak up, or one of those terrible gifts to come along. But, it's just going to happen. It's part of life. And to think that we're going to move through life and there's never going to be one of those experiences for us is probably not a good way to think, because that's not life. You're probably not living if you don't have some of these things. It's really, again, how do we use the energy of support to help us and
Help us.
support us and remind us who we are, and sometimes just give us a little courage, or to remember that we've been someplace before. We've had experiences before and we've survived.
Yes, yes. We can do it because we've gone through something similar already in the past.
Yep.
One thing that stands out in your story is the role of humor and humility, even during some of the hardest seasons of your life. What do you think, or why do you think humor can sometimes be one of the most powerful survival tools we have?
I think about this sometimes in this way, Toby. I've had enough radiation that I glow in the dark. I mean, you could put me in the corner of your room and I could be your nightlight. I've got a little glow going so much, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to knock on wood, because hopefully it's not anytime soon, but I'm going to get the scan or the result, the lab result. What I've done through working with my own resilience is know that's going to happen. And I allow myself 30 or 40 minutes to do that, stomping, crying, screaming at God, whatever I want to do, knowing that I still got to get on with it. It's not going to change. But I'll do something like, when I go into that waiting room where people are waiting for radiation, I can see the people who are in fear. I can be of service to them by just starting a conversation. What invariably happens is there's someone that I can share with them what's getting ready to happen to them. The doctor doesn't share that usually. You're going to go into the room. You don't have to take your clothes off. There's this machine, big machine, that's going to whir around you. It doesn't hurt. It's very quick. So in being present with them, I can help decrease their anxiety or their fear. Humor is a wonderful thing. If we use it in excess, it can be fake and phony. But using something to lighten things up is good and can be helpful. To remember there's levity in life. If nothing else, it feels better.
If nothing else, it feels better. It could be the light shining for someone in their dark moments in life. Humor can be used as a tool for that, like to just brighten someone's day, brighten someone's life.
Yes, yes. Yeah, be present to life. And it's not about cracking a joke at the wrong time or making something into humor. It's these things happen to us. And We can even watch ourselves and how we react and be amused by it. There that is again. I see that, how I react to that, you know, and I just think there's these things you can do something as simple as there's a favorite comedy show you had. Go watch them.
Yeah.
When you've got something difficult to go through, take a break from it and go watch a few of them and let yourself feel that and laugh a little bit.
Yes. Brighten up your day. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, just break it up a little bit because life can be pretty heavy at times, and there's things we can do for ourselves to get a little break from it. For me, that can be walking in nature. This time of year here, we get our rain start and all the flowers pop up, and I have this walk I take. I live on a mountain, so I walk on this mountain and I see all these flowers that I haven't seen since last year.
Yeah.
Well, people sometimes wonder about me because I start talking to the flowers.
What do you say to them?
I'm happy to see them again. They remind me the cycle of life. I'm here another year. They're back shining at me. And the gift of how temporary they are. I get to see them now and then they'll be gone again. And that there are other flowers that follow them because they all don't come at once. Something as simple as being present to that.
Yeah. It doesn't cost anything. It doesn't cost anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, Tom, if someone listening today or right now, feels like they're in the middle of their own storm, like we talked about earlier, maybe questioning their future, questioning their purpose in life or their strengths, when they're really in it down in that hill and they don't even, maybe they don't have any strength anymore. What would you want them to remember about resilience and the possibility of
Yeah.
beginning again?
I would want them to remember the evidence they have of what's happened before. I would want them to remember to stay present to the things in their life right now, as difficult as it may be, that they cherish and they're grateful for. I would want them to remember that every storm runs out of rain. I would want them to remember the energy of support at those times we're feeling that way and we feel like there's no hope. Reach out to someone that can help. If nothing else, just listen to us.
Just
To go
listen.
watch outside and whatever it is for them, find those flowers to talk to.
Yeah. Find those flowers to talk to. One thing I will not forget is the storm will always run out of rain. That means this too shall pass. This too shall pass.
Yes.
But for people out there who want to, connect with you, get your book, get into your coaching service, get into your podcast, what's the best way to connect and work with you?
Well, you can go to my website, www.tomlenoble.com. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on all the socials and everything. And while my team goes crazy when I do this, I give people my email address because I love to talk to people. And my email address is resilience@tomlenoble.com. And the book you can find right now at any online retailer. Amazon has it, Barnes & Noble, Goodreads, wherever you want to find it. I think they'll find it comes in 4 different formats, whether you want to listen to me read it to you, whether you want to have a paperback, a hardback, or just an ebook. They're all available.
That's awesome. I'm going to place the link to your website in the show notes of this episode. I encourage everyone out there to just click on the link, copy the link, and reach out to you. Get the book already. We have more information on your website for how to do that and also how to, engage in the different services that you offer. It's a well-detailed website. Thank you so much, Tom. It has been a really wonderful time speaking with you. I really enjoyed the deeply meaningful conversation that we had, learning about resilience, learning about reassuring us that the storm will run out of rain and life is life. Life will happen. We just have to grow from whatever life throws at us. Thank you so much.
Toby. It's been a delight to be with you. And for you and your viewers, never forget, enjoy.
If this conversation resonated with you, consider following or subscribing to Mirror Talk on your favorite podcast platform. You can also support the show by sharing this episode with someone who might need it and by leaving a 5-star rating. It helps these conversations reach more people who could benefit from them.
Thank you very much.